Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new version of the Clubhouse this week. The Clubhouse is coming to you from lockdown, the lockdown studio. So we have to beam our people in today. So we decided to do something a little bit different on the Clubhouse today. We decided to do a youth in focus, just focus a little bit on the youth teams, and who else better to come on and have a bit of a chat. George, just introduce yourself to the viewers. I'm sure everybody knows who you are, but who are you really?
Okay, George Fellis, Hamilton South, been involved in Newcastle Olympic, was then Hamilton Olympic for probably 100 years. I feel that age, but it all started many years ago when probably Anthony was my middle son. He's now 26. When he first started playing for Hamilton Olympic at the time, he was 10-year-old. I took over from Nick and Maria as Vestas, and it just went from there, and I just couldn't let the club go. Yeah, just brought him through the ranks, coached every year, probably since then. He's 26 now, so that's obviously, quite a few years ago. Yeah.
George, what official, do you have an official role? Do you playing a couple of roles, a few different hats that you might wear?
Well, Les, when you're in a club and you're a volunteer, they call me the assistant technical director involved in youth NPL. Have had a lot to do with the appointment of coaches throughout the youth NPL, which has been in conjunction with Alex Tagg, which has been very successful, as you'll see going forward. Youth technical director, and they tell me I'm in charge of the canteen and the famous schnitzels, but it's a group of people that make it, not just myself.
Look, I know it's no time to be humble on the show here, George. It's basically, we know that the canteen is famous across the land, and especially for their chicken schnitzels. So give us a bit of an idea. How do you make a really good chicken schnitzel?
Well, I can't give away my secrets, because what I sell in my shop at Hunter Street, it's not what I sell in the canteen at Darling Street.
Oh, okay.
No. George Sofianis of Red Funnel has been able to source a schnitzel that isn't too far behind what I make by hand. I couldn't make by hand the schnitzels that we sell in Darling Street, but they are right up there. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And I've also, you're a board member, aren't you?
Correct.
And you're also coaching the 15s?
That's correct, yeah. Yep.
So, when I asked you to name your roles, you obviously left out a few. You're a man of many talents.
Well, behind a successful man, Les, is always a group of people that are supporting you, and I've got a lot of good people behind me at Newcastle Olympic to support me. Yeah, I coached the 15s, very successful team, with my assistant, Eddie Abramovic. He doesn't own Chelsea, by the way. I wish he did.
Oh, wow.
He probably wouldn't be here if he did. But, and I'm also on the, how can I say, coaching panel as well, with a couple of the guys, technical coaching panel for coaches, and player retention.
So the Olympic, it's in your heart, it's in your soul, of course.
Correct. Yes, very much.
And you're not going anywhere else?
Definitely not.
What about for the big dollars?
No, you can keep it.
Oh, I wasn't going to offer you any big dollars. I have no dollars. Remember, I'm still trying to sell this this show off to Amazon or Paramount Plus or whoever. So no, all good. No, I appreciate you coming along. One of the things you might have watched in the past was the traditional clubhouse with players from first grade men's, first grade women's. And of course, we haven't done really anything much on the youth team. So I know we've had Alex Tagg on before and the Legacies, so that was a good excuse to get you on. And,
yes.
And as I said, we need to after we did the legacy with Kyle Hodges, the guests are just getting better looking and looking. That's why we couldn't go back to Alex. Sorry, Alex, just a shootout. Shout out to you guys. Listen, why don't we start? We're going to run through the 13s through to 16s. We don't have many, not many slides. The reason why is that, of course, some of the teams have 1,000 hours of footage and some don't. So I think it was fair enough for us just to actually just go over in a broad brush event across all these teams. We're going to start with the 13s. This is the 13s table here. George, you can see that the 13s team is running fifth there, 19-11-3 with 36 points. So what can you tell us about where they're sitting there on the table at fifth?
Well, from where we're looking at that right now, I'm really happy that they're in that position. They've worked very, very hard. Always the transition from the 12s into the 13s, there's always a lot of work to do early in the competition. The coaches have really got a lot of work to do to find where the players are best suited. The transition from 12s to 13s, the hardest one to make. So, and Reece, that's had our 13s in the past, he's same thing has happened. The first part of the season is always where do they play, working out. You got questions being asked by the parents. It's always a happy time to engage.
I'll just stop you just one quickly. While you continue, I just want to tell the audience that we're going to run over and just shine the light on some of these boys while you're actually talking. So you're up to talking about the transition.
Yes, the transition of the 12s into the 13s. So they spend a bit of time. The coaches spend a lot of time on learning the players, what they're about, their personal natures, all that type of thing is very, very important. And these boys, James Carathanassis, Will Stewart, have really, really done a good job in transitioning them now that they've settled on their positions going through to the second half of the season. Yeah, so I'm really, really impressed. I've noticed them at training. The boys they're a happy group. Very, very good. Very happy with what they've achieved. Yeah.
So what the 13s, let me just switch back here. So just name that coaching staff again there for me.
Okay, we got James Carathanassis is the leading coach or the head coach, and the big tall fella that's about 7'2". That's Will Stewart. So
yeah,
that's
I thought I saw Will at the Olympics in the high jump. Was that him?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, why wouldn't he be there? Yeah.
And on the right, on the far left of that photo, is that
he's the manager. He's the manager. He's one of the fathers of the one of the boys in the team. Yeah.
Yeah, so the 13's a the transition through. You spend a bit of time, as you say, in the first part of the season understanding their appropriate positions. Correct. And not that will mean that they stay there for the rest of their life. It's just a matter of understanding that transition. And of course, is it a transition to a full field as well or not?
They are into a full field. Coming from our 12s, they're a half field now in the JDL. But we've taken steps now from the JDL 12s half field into full field game. Yeah. Those boys did come from a full field game though, because the federation continued to change it. But next year, our new 13s will be coming from half-field game.
Yeah, because that's obviously another transition to worry about. Here we are. I think the boys are just having a little bit of might have been down at Darling Street, that one. May not. Where's that
field?
Yes,
it is. Yeah, Darling Street. See the sign in the background? Order and pay for hot food here. Yeah, I put them up in the morning.
Yeah, okay, beautiful. So you should know this. Very good. So that's the 13s, and of course, I know you've got very strong squads across the whole group. do any of those 13s get a chance to play up into the? When I say play up, I don't mean going to the nightclub or whatever. I mean
Understand? Yeah,
play
yeah.
up into the older age groups.
Well, at this point, the group in front of them, which is the 14s, they have 16 players, Les, at this point.
Yeah,
So very difficult.
yeah,
It's not a road. We don't try to put roadblocks there, but this particular group, we picked 16
yes,
in the 14s because we couldn't let the opportunity to go to retain two of our kids that have been with us before from the Jets. So
yeah,
that boosted the numbers in the 14s from 14 to 16 players. So that was probably
yeah.
a little bit
Makes it
hard.
difficult.
We
Makes
try
it
not to do
difficult.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, here is the obviously the 14s table. 19, 18 with one loss and 109 for. So 92 goals as a goal difference. That's getting up there, isn't it, George?
Yeah, geez, they got some players in that squad. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
They're 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 a magnificent squad.
why don't you have a bit of a chat about them while we stick them up and have a bit of a look at them?
Okay. Basically, the reason we got such a good squad in there is we worked very hard in the 13s, and Reece Fellis has always been a really, really hard worker in the transition from 12s into 13s in the years gone by with us coaches. So going forward, we've built this squad. It's grown considerably, and the coaches, Chris and Ethan, have done a magnificent job in probably transitioning these guys from 13s into 14s. Yeah, great squad. Yeah.
So that 109 goals for. Is there any? Is there a boy here that's probably on a fair few? Is it, or is it just been shared
Yeah,
around the
but
goals?
no, no, no. The guy in the middle, striker, just in the middle of the goals there, Ollie Steinhardt. He's very, very good player. Very aggressive, can score goals from anywhere. He's a very, very good player. Yeah,
So
yeah.
he and does rep honours come into this particular age group?
At this point, rep honours do. They have they have a what they call the national titles that the 14s and the 15s are involved in, which unfortunately have been cancelled this year. And I think there's about 4 players from that squad going into they call it the TSP. Um, there's been a few people from Northern that came around at the end of last year to get names, have a look at these kids, invite them in, and yeah, we're hoping that a few of these guys really start to step up. Yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
sure they will.
I think we have. I think you have a picture of the boys having a bit of a sing in the dressing shed here. The 14 boys. Do they all sing the same song?
Yes, correct. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they same as the first grade.
that's correct. Yes, they do. They do. Yeah, we teach them from a young age, Les. It's great.
Yes. So, what is your or the club's take on the whole idea that you want to be a strong club? You're very, very well. You go well in the club championships, of course, but you also have, looking at the 15s here, putting the table up here with another squad of 19, 17, 1, 1. The idea that the good kids,
Make, make
move
sure you
on.
tell people that's. Make sure you tell people that's my squad, Les.
Well, you're on the show, mate. You can just.
Oh,
I'll put a picture up in a minute of you standing there with your squad. But let me ask you this serious football question for 1 second. What's
yeah.
the take on, you're going to lose potentially your best players? I mean, that's inevitable, isn't it, that you have an A-League structured program within the same region as which you play. So the very likelihood is that those players, 14s and 15s, will get identified and end up playing in the A-League academy. Is that something that happens?
Yes, all the time. We're aware of it, and we promote it. We never tell any of the kids or their parents that program's not for them. What I do believe, though, is I think my personal belief is that the older you go into those programs, the better suited you are to handle the pressures, the constraints of 4 nights a week training, your mannerism, how you handle coaches screaming at you, because it's not for faint-hearted people, yeah.
Yes.
But no, we encourage it. I mean, since the inception of the NPL in 2014, we've had 17 players across the age
Wow.
groups that have gone into the Jets academies. If you had a club championship on NPL youth only, we would have won it every year. There's no question about it. We've won probably 20 titles in premierships and grand finals in our youth NPL since 2014. The most successful club by far in youth NPL. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Because
So
one of the
so yeah, it's part and parcel of what we expect. Well, what we're accustomed to for the kids going to the emerging Jets, and we have no issue. We hope to get them back, of course. If they don't make it at the A-League level, we'd like to think that
yeah.
this is a family club, and yeah.
Yeah, I think that is part of what I see here in the clubhouse. When we take the boys through and they take their photos of their journey, a lot of those younger boys have gone through the Jets Academy. And for one of a number of reasons, they haven't made the A-League squad or another A-League squad. And quite rightly, they just head on back to the club that paid them homage all those years in the juniors. So it gets into your blood and you hope to get them back.
Yeah, of course. That's what we try and. I think that's the best way to go forward. Yeah, we recommend kids. Alex recommends people to the Jets, and we all do. And if you've got a good environment, hopefully they would like to come back. Yeah,
Because ultimately, the kids to progress need to be playing against the very best.
correct, and that's why we're starting to probably look at the kids in those age groups within our NPL and get them to start to train with the higher age group, and that can only improve them. Yes, yeah.
So here's your squad. Now, because this is your squad, you might be able to take me through a few names here. I'll start off with the good-looking coach on the left-hand side here. That's that looks like a retro shirt you're wearing there, George.
Yeah. I've got a rebadge to put Newcastle Olympic on it. Yeah,
that's
used to have Hamilton Olympic, but I've got a rebadge. No, I'm joking. Yeah.
What about these boys? They're quite tall, aren't they? Some centre backs here.
Yeah. Well, the centre backs are, if you go across the screen, that's Isaac Lavender and Charlie Stevenson, Heath Chalker, who's one of the backs, Toby Gallagher, and there are your two centre backs, the Lorcan McCullum and Giles. Giles' brother plays for our first grade squad. He's just jetted back off to overseas. Harrison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And we've got Charlie Halls, who's a speedster out at the number 7, and we've got Eddie Abramovic. Yeah.
And he's no relation, as you said before.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, he wouldn't be here. This boy here in particular now down here, he came from West Wall's End, so I'm really, really pleased that him and another teammate, Kobe Jackson, and right across to the other side is Kobe Boyd. They come from the New FM League, so very, very pleased in them stepping up. George Samurase, one of the most probably improved number 6 in the whole league this year. He's dynamite. Yeah. And our goalkeeper, and of course, young Nikolai Zervi, that his brother plays for the Jets. And our leading goal scorer, Seth Anderson. I wish he'd get a haircut, but he's our number 1 goal scorer, Seth Anderson, next to the goalkeeper. Yeah. And that's a Kobe Boyd from New FM, and River Peterson, unfortunately, hasn't played much this year. I think River Peterson on the end there would be one of the best number 10s in the league, but hasn't played much. He broke his wrist earlier in the year. Yeah.
So it's a good looking, they're starting that transition as you've had boys yourself. I've got a young boy. They get into that scenario where they some progress in height a lot earlier than the other,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you get at the 14s, 15s mark, you get squads that are all over the place. But one thing I've learned, and
yes,
you would know better than most, is your foot skill has to be worked on all the time, doesn't it? Because it doesn't matter how big,
correct.
tall,
Yeah.
size, skinny, whatever it is. If you can't play the football, then later on in life you get found out. Yeah.
Yes, correct, correct. I look, I have a big emphasis on the passing practice, and a real lot of sharp passing. I mean, even at training, we've got one of the parents that likes to record what I do at training. I caught him one night. He didn't realise I was watching him, but he had his video up at the up on the fence recording in one of our training sessions because our passing practice was magnificent. I pushed them really, really hard. I put the opportunity and the emphasis on them to lift as well. I push them very hard. Yeah, I'm very good at transitioning kids from 15s and 16s into senior football, and that's what I like doing. Yeah.
And how often do these guys train with
Uh,
twice a week?
yeah, twice a week. That's correct. Yeah,
And
twice a week
where do the squads train?
at Islington.
Okay, so
Islington Oval. Yeah,
on the big oval where the IDs played the other day.
that's correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. Yep, yep.
I think I have just one photo of must have been a major goal, but they're not that happy, the boys. But they're getting around each other. I think the goalie that's looking in the background there is not very happy.
Yeah, I don't think that's the first time he's got the ball out of the net. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm
I've,
pretty
I've,
sure.
I feel for him, but I make sure that look, they feel for the opposition, but they respect the opposition. But if they're going to score 5 goals, go and score 10, and just keep your mouth shut. And yeah, that was probably the 10th goal. Yeah, they weren't shipping champagne or anything like that at that point.
So you're
Yeah,
teaching the boys the humility in winning as well as losing.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, very,
Yeah,
very good.
absolutely. Well. It's very hard to teach them how to rebound from a loss because we've only had one loss in 2 years with this particular squad, Les. You know, but it's well, I'll teach them more stuff before the end of the season.
So you got the 14s. This is the 14s from last year, and is that correct? It's obviously correct now that you've said that they went through undefeated last year.
Yeah, except for the grand final.
Is that why
Yeah.
some of the fathers don't believe in grand? Is that why we as a group should just cut it off at the European football? But tell me a little bit about that. What actually happened there?
The grand final?
Yeah, like you go through undefeated. How do you
Yeah.
get young minds? How do you get the young minds around that loss as a coach?
Well, look. Alex Tagg came in and spoke to him at the end of the game. He always likes to be in the middle of things, you know. You know what Alex is
Yeah,
like,
yeah, for sure.
and it was a real good chat because it was the COVID lockdown year. We didn't play Magic at all that year. Both
Okay.
games got cancelled, so we didn't have an opportunity to size them up. And we played them in the grand final, and we gave away 3 penalties and played with a man short for most of the game. So, yeah, we really. So he got them together and said, "Look, guys, you've done very well not to lose the game. You won the premiership by a country mile. You got there, but there's a lot worse people off in the world than what we're doing. Have a look at what COVID." So he gave him a bit of a chat, and that was probably okay. Yeah.
So they progressed through this year then and lost a game and drew a game. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. We lost against Valentine, and we drew against Magic last Saturday at Spears Point. Yeah, our first draw and our loss a couple of weeks prior to that. Yeah, it makes for interesting times. I'm not unhappy about it, but yeah, the way you play, you coach them. I've got something to coach now, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, at the end, we'll have a quick chat about premiers, the opportunity of when these teams could become premiers. We'll just do that at the finish. Just
yeah,
looking onto the 16s, they're running third behind a couple of powerhouses in Edgeworth and Broad Meadow Magic. But again, they've
Yep.
only lost three with three draws, sitting on 36 points. So, of course, we get into the 16s, you get into young men and starting to work out that, at some age, I mean, we're talking to Tommy Davies, who was 16 making his first grade debut. So some of these boys, are probably well on their way, are they?
Yeah. They're very, very look. They had a rocky start. Reese has now settled them down a little bit with Keegan Daly. Keegan Daly's has done a bit of coaching for Reese this year. Reese has been off a little bit with his knee. He's had an operation on his knee, had to fix his knee up. But Keegan's done a real good job with the boys at training. I've been watching him. They lost a couple of they lost a very, very influential player early in the season, so it's been difficult for them. But to see them sitting where they're sitting, I think it's been amazing. And the good thing here is they've only got 12 in their squad now, so there's great opportunity for the boys in the 15s to come and sit on the bench and have some game time with them. I think last week against Magic, they beat Magic 2-1 at Spees Point last start, and they finished the game with three of the 15s playing in that squad, which is great. The two centre backs and Seth Anderson. Actually, Seth Anderson, I think, scored the winner. Yeah.
Oh, very, very good. Which takes me
Yeah.
to this point here. I mean, is Mullets part of the structure there with you guys? So these two good looking roosters, isn't it?
You can blame Alex Tagg for that.
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
you joking? Yeah.
He's bringing.
He's bringing it back. I carry the scissors to try and disencourage it, but of course, when you got Alex there, I mean, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you got a couple of guys. Rowan Browning, he was rocking it in the 100-metre sprint at the Olympic Games. So, the Mullets, they're coming back. George, did you have rocking one when you were playing?
No chance.
No
No
chance.
chance. Hey, listen, I wanted the girls to chase me when I was a younger fella, mate.
So I can imagine. I just saw your picture of your son there. Were you that well groomed when you were growing up?
Oh no, I was better looking than Reese.
Oh yes, for sure.
Yeah, shit, I had to fight him off when I was a young fella, mate.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we might do that in another show. We might just do that on a show at the side. A few different sort of pictures. But I tell you what, I think we have one more, just a photo, but I think it might have been just a bit of a goal clearance. I think that might have been the guy you were saying is in your team there.
That's correct, Lorcan.
Yeah. I'd like to do a where's the ball in that scenario because it looked like they'd both just seen a ghost.
Well, Lorcan, yeah, he likes to jump at a lot of things, but yeah, I have no idea where the ball was in, mate. I can't help you with that one.
Well, just there'll be a lot of people probably yelling at the TV when they see this and say, "Oh, there's 1,000 beautiful photos of the boys. Why couldn't you get?" Well, of course, we don't have 3 hours to do this show, but we did like to give a shout out to Wayne and the people from Breathless. They do a great job, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, magnificent. Can I also, if you don't mind, Tom Samuris for his great work in what he's been presenting for the youth NPL as well. He's been great.
Yeah. Tom has got a lot. I follow Tom's YouTube page. He's got a lot of footage up there. We would have loved to include a lot of that, but of course, again, that was just going to run us over time. But yeah, appreciate Tom and his involvement in helping us get this show underway as well. So, shout out to you, Tom, and hope your boy goes well. Now, just with a couple of those teams, I mean, 14s and 15s being on top, are they likely to go premiers soon? I mean, how many games do you actually have left, George?
3 games. 3 games left. The game on the weekend that just passed that got cancelled, Lake Macquarie. At this point, they've earmarked that to be put onto the back of the regular competition. So
okay.
we'll go to, if we play this weekend coming, we'll go to Spees Point and play Far North Coast then Western, then they'll play the Lake Macquarie game sort of after that. All
But they only
things,
have
yeah,
to win. Do they only have to win? The 15s do only have to win one more match, and they're out of
correct,
sight. And what about the
correct.
14s? Is that the same?
Pretty much, yes. Yep,
Yeah. So they could.
yep, yep.
They possibly, without this snap lockdown, both teams would have probably been premiers already.
Yes,
Because
yes, yes. We
is
probably, yeah.
because imagine Lakes being down towards the bottom of the table, they would have be a major upset to beat the boys.
Well, it would be, but you don't take teams. I
Yes.
never take my teams into thinking that because you're inviting trouble. But yes, that's correct. Yeah, win the game first. We can sing the song, although we're not allowed to sing the song. Big George, the president, said, "Boys, just relax. You can't really sing the song at the end of the game." But I like to sing the song. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
Well, I think some of the grades are singing the song outside, are just not allowed to sing it inside. But I mean,
Correct.
if you're beating a team really well, it's a bit hard to then just start belting out the tune, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely correct. Absolutely. We respect everyone we play against. And yeah, we're building kids well, I'm certainly building kids to handle the top grades when they move into senior football. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, you would know more than anybody that you're also building good humans as well.
Ah, tremendous. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We don't, yeah, we have a no dickhead policy. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, been in the rep programs for a long time, and I think one of the things about playing elite level sport, if you're not playing professional and this what we call semi-elite, is to teach them. They've got to get themselves organised, got to get their boots done, they've got to get their room has to be tidy. I mean, it all stems back from what the coach is talking about on the weekends. It stems back into their life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We try and bring everything to their game. So it's not only about training and the game day, it's about their approach. It's about making sure they don't, get on social media and wind up the other players, have respect for the other players, and they know where we stand. And when they come through me, they certainly know exactly how to act as a human being as well as a good footballer. And that's what we've tried to do. That's what I've tried to do. Yeah.
Very good, George. Look, you've been absolutely brilliant here tonight, shining a little bit of light onto the youth in the boys program. Is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to before you go that's helped you along the way? It's now chance. I mean, I don't care if it's 55 people. Won't matter. We've got plenty of time. Who would you like to give a
Oh,
quick shout out to?
obviously, the most influential person that's helped me through this, that I've worked very closely in building what we've built here at Newcastle Olympic with the youth NPL is Alex Tagarulis, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
But being very close to Alex, always bouncing things off him. He calls me his right hand man, but I'm sure he's got lots of right hand guys. But but we work very close together, and we run a series program. One of the very successful things or reasons why we've been so successful is in the 6 or 7 years that we've had the NPL, we've only had a handful of coaches. We've tried to keep the coaches in their positions, and the teams come through their coaches. We've had Benny Lane, we've had Mason Campbell, Dougie West. Apart from those guys, we haven't had a real lot of change within our coaching ranks, and that's built the stability within our NPL. Yeah, and it's something that I've treasured and made sure that we've tried to keep. Fathers coaching their sons, we've tried to avoid it. But of course, when you got the likes of Benny Lane that's played at a very high level, when he puts his hand up to coach, you don't
Yes.
say no.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we want the teams to come through their coaches because we have coaches specialising in particular age groups, and that's probably why we've been so successful. Yeah.
So it's not under the program where the coach follows the team.
No, no chance, no chance. The only time that's happened probably 2 years ago with Benny Lane and with myself, I had the 14s last year, which won the premiership, and I followed this team into the 15s. The reason being is we've had two new sets of coaches come into the NPL 13s and 14s, which are going to be staying in that position next year. So we believe that the most experienced coaches in the NPL probably should have the 15s and 16s because they're transitioning into senior football.
For sure.
Yeah. And the kids and the guys that have done the 13s and 14s have done a magnificent job. Yeah.
Because you're not just building players, of course, you're developing coaches, building the coaches as well, aren't you?
Yes. Well, the coaches, a lot of the early coaches in the NPL have played senior football for Newcastle Olympic,
Yeah, for sure.
Mason Campbell. They were in the early years of our coaching, our NPL juniors. Done a great job. So, yeah, we're well versed, and probably there's a lot of clubs that are looking at us going, "Wow, why, and how are these guys?" So, yeah.
Well, you've just given away the club secret there. They're very good, George. It's going to go live on the internet. But look, appreciate you coming on. Thanks very much for your time, and we're going to be having a little bit of a look at the youth program in the girls side soon. So we'll come to you with that another day. But for now, we'll say bye-bye from the clubhouse in lockdown. See you later.
You're doing a great job. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.